Hey, Chatham Club. Andrew here. First, I just want to start out by saying I hope everybody, all your friends, all your family, yourself, everybody's in good health. And I hope that you're pulling through okay during this time. I know it's pretty stressful for a lot of people. We had a lot of requests to do some resistance band training videos so that you guys could get some ideas in case this is all you have. And it's a popular way to go, unless you have a better setup with dumbbells and barbells and all that, and that would be great. But if you just have resistance bands, which is pretty much what I'm working with, I want to go through just a series of exercises that you could do per body part so that you can get in a good workout. And so what we're going to do, some of this is going to be resistance bands and some of this is going to be body weight movements, because all of them are effective and all of them are available as long as you have resistance bands. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just working with one band, okay? So this is nice and light. It's just a 50-pound band, and it's really hard to see, but over in the corner, and it's already mounted, I have just a door bracket. Most resistance band sets are going to come with some kind of door anchor or door bracket, so you can do things like flies or even like mimic pull-ups, lat pulls, things like that, rows. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through all the different body parts, and I'm going to do about 3 to 4 exercises per body part. I'm going to make the video as close to 45 minutes as I can. It might go a little bit over, it might stay a little bit under. I'm going to do what I can with this. My video shooting options are not awesome because it's just me, so I'm doing my best with this. And that being said, we're going to start out with the chest, okay? So what I like to do, especially in this situation, is I like to start out with flies, and I like to get the chest tired first, okay? And there's a purpose to that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with some basic flies, all right? So move number 1, we're going to take this, again, apologize, I know it's hard to see. It's kind of my training area, away from my training area. So I do my weight training, I do my martial art training, all that kind of stuff here. And I'm a little bit limited in terms of setup, so I'm going to do the best I can. We're going to take this band, and there's already, it's basically just kind of like a sleeve, and it loops through. Okay, so any resistance band set you get is going to come with instructions as to how to do that. So maybe a little tough to see, but it's hooked up over here. And what we're going to do is start out with your basic fly, all right? So when it comes to flies are typically more for shaping purposes when we're using cables, okay? If we're using dumbbells, we can get shape and mass. Cables can do it, but typically we do this toward the end. But since I'm a little bit limited with equipment, I'm gonna start with it and do a little pre-exhaust. Okay, so I'm gonna isolate the muscle, I'm gonna get it exhausted first, and then I'm gonna go into my main chest work, which is actually gonna be push-ups, and I'm gonna demo for you. So this particular fly, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. You can pick which feet you're comfortable with, being forward or back, it doesn't matter. And what we want to do is just hug a barrel, okay? So we're going to start up high, okay? So I'm not above my shoulders. I'm going to keep my palms facing down, and we're going to just bring this all the way down to the center, okay? So I want to stop about 6 inches in front of my belly button, and then we're going to come out nice and wide and almost back a little towards the top, but I'm not coming above my shoulders. And so what we're going to do is about 15 reps, okay? So I'm just going to give you guys a couple reps to get you the idea, and then we'll move forward, okay? In terms of speed, okay, that can get effective, but it can get complicated. For your purposes, what I'm going to say is keep your rep tempo even, okay? So an even 1 Mississippi when you're doing the movements, unless I specify otherwise, okay? So 15 reps like this, okay? So 1 and 1. Okay, towards the middle, squeeze, bring it back up, all right? And right now what we're doing is we're working generally on all portions of the chest, a lot of middle chest, and that's why this is a really good shaper, okay? So we're taking this, again, we're putting that squeeze. You can see I'm keeping my tempo very even with this, and I'm just going for that burn. So when it comes to this move, what I'm gonna recommend is do 4 sets of 15, okay? Or as close to that as you can get. Start with that. That'll get some blood flow in there, get a nice burn in there, and it'll get those pecs generally exhausted toward the end of that, okay? Again, you want to use an appropriate resistance, and this is going to be your basic fly, okay? Recap, up at the shoulders, 6 inches out in front of the belly button, okay? We're going from high down to low, and that's our basic fly, okay? So we're done with that. In terms of time off in between your sets, I'm going to say to make it a challenge, 30 seconds, you could go as high as a minute. But 30 seconds is going to be pretty good. From there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can do presses. In my particular setup, if I had a middle hinge on that door, that would be the best way to really mimic dumbbell presses, which is a really nice exercise that hits a lot of parts of the chest. Okay, I'm gonna just demo with the way that's set up because I don't have that available right now. But what I want you to visualize is this would ideally be set up in the middle. So I have my elbows up and I have my arms out to the sides here, and I'm lined up with my lower chest. Same staggered stance, and we're pressing forward. Okay, so we're gonna meet in the middle and we're gonna come back out to our sides. And again, we're aiming more for our lower chest, almost the sternum. Okay, so we wanna flex and squeeze, and we're coming back. You can, if you have a setup like me where you only have a high hinge or a low hinge, you can mimic the exact same thing. Okay, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Elbows here, we're gonna start below the chest to the sternum. We're pressing forward, keeping the cables right above our arms, and we're coming back out to the sides. And even this is gonna do a pretty effective job. So we're gonna work the middle part of the chest, we're gonna work some upper chest, we're gonna get front deltoids in there, and we're gonna get some triceps in there. Okay, and the same idea. So now, when we're coming into this, I'm gonna say, start out with about 4 sets of 12. 12 is gonna do a pretty decent job with that. And again, use a resistance that gives you a burn towards the end of 12. We wanna sit there and we wanna make that muscle work. Now, we're gonna focus on our upper chest. And what I'm gonna do for this, because everybody does have this available, we're gonna go through a series of push-ups, okay? Now, I know push-ups are not everybody's favorite. They're not my personal favorite, but they are my favorite in terms of how well they can actually help you out in terms of working your chest and developing your muscles. We're gonna start out with your classic push-up. That's usually what I'll follow this up with. So, again, right now, more middle chest, more upper chest, front delts, triceps. A little bit of a repeat, but that's okay. We wanna sit there and make sure those muscles are worked. 2 ways you can do this, all right? You can do a full body push-up, so our hands are shoulder width apart, or just slightly outside of shoulder width, fingers facing forward, okay? You can go full body, which is right there on your toes. Make it a little tougher, put one toe on the back of your heel. You wanna make it even tougher, you can put your feet up onto a chair if you need the resistance. If you need to make it easier, we're gonna put our knees side by side. We're gonna keep our hips low. We're gonna look straight, okay? This is a classic modification. Really helps you out if you have difficulty with push-ups, okay? So I'm just gonna keep it simple. We're gonna go through our full body push-up, okay? So we're looking straight, keep our back and butt flat. We're gonna keep the elbows in tighter to the body, but not completely on the sides. Bending the elbows, get all the way down to the point where you're almost touching, and we push up. And we keep that rep tempo even again. 1 and 1. So 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi. All right? So for those push-ups, what I'm gonna say is to keep it simple. 4 sets again, do a set of 12, 2 sets of 10, one set of 8. 30 seconds up to 60 seconds off in between a set. Now, we're gonna move on to another variation, and this isolates a little bit better the upper chest, believe it or not, and you actually get some bicep work in here. So, I'm gonna show you just in the video as best I can. You wanna go palms out, all right? And it's gonna be a pretty wide position. It's not this close, I just wanna show you how my hands look when we go to do the move. It's actually out about 2 to 3 inches wider than your shoulders, okay? But I just wanted you guys to get the idea. So from here, very simple, okay? Full body or whatever variation you need. Look straight, elbows in tight. Okay, so they're almost coming back. Same thing, down to the ground, back up to the top. Okay, so 1 and 1. 1 and 1. All right, same concept there. Set of 12, 2 sets of 10, 1 set of 8. That will generally give you a good rep protocol for building some strength and building some muscle, okay? It's not the only way to do it. Everybody responds differently to reps and sets. So you do have to find out what's working the best for you. But that's a good foot to stand on and a good way to start and just generally try to shape your programs from there using that rep scheme. Now, what we're gonna do is isolate the outer parts of the chest, okay? So that this way we get all these different areas worked. So for this, it's actually a really wide push-up. Now, again, I can't show you this because I don't have a wide lens, but what we're doing is, my preference is knuckles, okay? Because it lets the elbows come out when we do the move, which is what I'm looking for. It's like emulating a wide bench press. So it's wider than this, and you'll see it in a second, but generally the position is knuckles down. And as we do the move, elbows are coming out. Okay, so you take your knuckles, you go about 5 inches past your shoulders. Okay, same thing. Pick your variation in terms of your footwork, heads up, and then it's the same magic from there. Elbows out, down to the ground, back to the top. Okay, so 1 and 1. Just keep that nice and even. Get that burn. Make sure those muscles are feeling work toward the end of your set. And what you'll notice is you'll get a nice blood rush, you'll get a nice pump in your muscles, and they will burn, and you will be sore the next day. So even with body weight or resistance bands, you can get a good workout to keep your muscles in shape. If you do have barbells or dumbbells, that's phenomenal. And please feel free to, use the reps and the time off and just some of the concepts and apply it to those home workouts if you have that available. Now, what I would do from there is pretty much those 4 moves. Okay, so 5 moves, correct? I'm sorry, I stand corrected. So we're starting out with that cable fly. Keep the reps a little bit higher to more of a shaper. We're going back to that press, okay? Remember, ideally, if you have a middle door hinge to use, that's what we use. Then we go into our push-ups. They are very effective for working and building the chest, and you have 3 of them. Standard, wide grip, and then really wide, okay? And knuckles. And that's a good way to sit there and start working your chest. What I'm gonna move into next is gonna be back. Now back, same thing. We get a little creative with it. I'm gonna shoot this as best I can. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start out with basically an emulated version of either a pull-up or a lat pull-down, okay? So we're gonna go in that high position, okay, with that cable, and we're gonna take it. And what I wanna actually show you guys before we even do this, on your grips, okay, when you go to grip it, to make the best use of your back muscles doing this and not make it all bicep, okay? We want to take an open grip, and what that means is this. Here's our handle right in the middle of our palm. Here's a normal grip. I call this a closed grip, okay? Our thumbs meet the fingers. I'm going to suggest an open grip where your thumb comes over the top, so your hand is really like a hook, all right? And the reason for that is, again, it forces your back muscles to do more of the work, and it reduces the role of your bicep doing this work. And so we're targeting back, so that's what we want to do right now. So we're going to start out with basically, again, either a lat pull down or a pull-up modification. Got my open grips, I'm coming down on the ground, okay? So I'm sitting for this, and I'm keeping it real simple, okay? We want to arch our back, keep our head up, and we're going to pull this down towards the middle of our chest, okay? So elbows are coming back, we're squeezing, we're coming back up, all right? Use the resistance that's appropriate for you. Again, I want you to get a good workout, so I want you to really work. But again, aim for the middle of the chest, squeeze here, keep your reps real even, okay? 1, pause, back to the top. 2, pause, and back to the top. So the same thing here. Just to keep your life simple, set of 12, set of 10, set of 10, set of 8, 30 to 60 seconds off in between. And that formula is going to apply for all those back movements that we're about to do. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to work a row, all right? So this is like doing a low cable row. So we take our bracket, and now we go down. So bear with me. All right, so we got a setup, okay? We're just down low, all right? So to emulate a low cable row, I wanna make one point before we continue on, apologize. So when we do the lat pull down or the pull-up variation, I want you to understand what you're working on. I want you to think about it as you go through your workouts. Upper lats, middle lats, okay? And some lower lats. We are getting some bicep, even if we do the hook grip on it. It's just giving us the least amount of biceps in there, which when we're working back is favorable. Right now we're switching off, okay? So we're doing a low cable row, so let's focus on it. So middle lats, lower lats, center parts of the back, biceps, okay? And we are gonna still go with that same hook grip, all right? So when we do the move, we're pulling right here, right to the V of the rib cage, right? Solar plexus. We're gonna bring this in so our elbows are nice and tight, close to our body. We're trying to get our elbows as far past our body as we can go. And then we're gonna come to the front with it, okay? So I'm gonna show this to you obviously, but I want you to see from the front so it makes sense. Okay, so we start here in the middle. Legs will ideally be extended. We pull, we squeeze, we bring it to the front. All right, so let me just show you with the cable. Here we are, lower grip mounted. Now, arch your back, okay? Start with your handles together. Look straight, pull back. Try to get your elbows as far past your body as you can. And then we come to the front. Very simple, okay? So 1 to the V of the rib cage and forward. Nice little squeeze and forward. And the same rep scheme that we had outlined before. Now we're going to move on and we're going to do a T-bar row, okay? So a T-bar row is now going to work on the center parts of the upper back, outside lats, and biceps. So one thing I like to do when I put together workouts, I like to make sure each area is trained. So we're not neglecting, we're not creating muscle imbalances, we're not creating anything aesthetically that looks out of proportion or out of symmetry. I like to pay attention to those things. So that's why we're doing some of these different angles. And I want to point out that there are many exercises that you can do. These are not the only ones. I'm just trying to give you 4 to 5 basic options, per muscle group, so you have a way to get started. If there's requests for more, I'll do more, obviously. So anyway, so this is again a T-bar row, okay? Ideally, a T-bar row looks like this. We got our feet close, about 3 inches apart, okay? We would have a pole between our legs. One end of the barbell would be against the door. We'd be gripping at the top, either with a triangle attachment or old school with the hands. We got a weight attached and we hit that weight right into the middle of our chest. We're gonna emulate that with the bands, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these bands. We're standing for this. We're in that position. I'm gonna try to not show my butt necessarily to this the whole time. And I want you to see maybe from the side angles a little bit better. You wanna look straight, arch your back, your body's at a 45, okay? Well, actually, I take that back. Your body should be right above 90. And what you want to do is you're going to pull right to the middle of your chest again, elbows tight. Keep your bands together, okay? Make sure they stay together the whole time. Hit the V of your rib cage or even the center parts of your chest, kind of depends on how this is mounted, and forward. And concentrate on those areas. Squeeze those areas. Make sure you feel the muscles that we're talking about, all right? Same rep schemes. And then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to do a single arm row, okay? Now, single arm row, it's a great exercise. What we're going to do is hit the back, each side of the back from start to finish independently, okay? So upper lats, middle lats, lower lats, biceps. And we're going to go one arm at a time. So everything is already set up. Single arm row, ideally looks like this. Try to do this quick. Shoulder width apart, 45 at the waist. Weaker side goes first because whatever you get with the weak side, we're going to match with the strong side. This way our body develops evenly, okay? One hand's on your thigh. One hand has both handles of the cable. We're gonna pull it right to your lower chest. Elbow stays tight and we extend. Okay, really, really simple. So, same concept. Sorry about that. Okay. We take both handles, use one band at a time. Same thing, okay? Try to visualize how I looked before when I was shooting this to the front. I just don't want to show you my butt the whole time. Look straight, pull, okay? Elbow tight, let it come forward. Elbow tight, let it come forward. Finish out your reps on one side, immediately shoot off into your opposite side, and as soon as you're done with that side, you're gonna go back to the other side, and you're just gonna keep going back and forth until you finish out all 4 sets and you complete all your reps, okay? And that's gonna be a good way to start out your back workout. Again, it's basic, but it is very easily done with resistance bands and in the comfort of your home. From there, we're gonna go into shoulders, okay? So with resistance bands, shoulders is actually, you can get some decent work going on with them. We're gonna do shoulders and traps. So I'm going to take a light one just to keep this nice and simple. Actually, we just use this. This we do not need a door mount for. We're just going to use the band. Okay, so right now we're going to isolate each deltoid. Okay, so we'll work on the front deltoid first, medial or side deltoid second, posterior or rear deltoid third. Okay, and the front deltoid is also known as the anterior deltoid. Okay, so take this, we're going to stand on it about shoulder width apart. The band is going to be right under the middle of your feet. You're going to go with a knuckles down grip. There are other variations. This is just one that I know that works well. Keep your arms straight. Very simple. We raise up shoulder height. We bring it back down. We keep it under control. So from here, straight up, shoulder height, right back down to the sides. Okay, so even tempo. One, little squeeze, back down to your sides. And we're just going to finish out all of our reps. Okay, now that again is working on the anterior deltoid front part, and we're just isolating that, so don't try to use super heavy weight. Use a weight that's appropriate. Please, again, do that for all the exercises that I'm demoing here. Now we're going to go side deltoid or medial deltoid. Okay, so over here we take our resistance bands, a little bit of a closer stance, so this way we can get nice and wide and get the height we need. So shoulder width apart, not actually about hip width apart of your feet, apologize. Take our bands, we're going to raise out to the sides. Okay, a little bend in the elbows, up to the shoulders, and back down. Okay, even tempo. One, one, and one. Just like that. Back down to your sides. Again, go for a burn. And one more time, just to demo. Good. Right? Now, we're going to go posterior deltoid or rear deltoid. Take our bands. Now, you're going to cross them in the opposite arms. Okay? You can go a little wider at your stance. You can be shoulder width apart. You're 45 at the waist. Okay, so again, we've got our bands crossed. You look straight, a little bend in your elbows, kind of like you're giving somebody a bear hug. And then we want to raise out to the sides as much as we can. So we come out, we squeeze, we bring it back in. Up, back in. Little pause, back in, do one more. Little pause, and back in. Okay, so as far as reps and sets, let's go same concept. Actually, I'm going to say for that, they're small muscles. We're going to go a little bit higher reps. So we're going to do 4 sets of 12 for each one of those, 30 seconds to 60 seconds off in between. Once you have that down, we're going to go into a classic upright row. Upright row, a little bit more of a compound move. Compound move means we hit more than one muscle while we're doing the movement, okay? So the last movements that we did were isolators. We literally just worked this part, that part for the most part. Now we're going to go into something that works 3 different areas depending on how far apart your hands are spread. So I'm going to go through both of them. So right now we're going to focus on front deltoid, side deltoid mostly, and a little bit of trap. So we take our band, it's an upright row. We're going to be shoulder width with our feet. We're going to take these, keep them in the front, and what we want to do is we want to get our hands right under our chin. I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see me. So we're here, we're going to raise up. Now, we want to keep our elbows high, our wrists low, and we get right under our chin there, and we just bring it right back down, okay? So one, squeeze, and then I just want you to notice how far apart my arms are, okay? Because based on that, you're either going to hit your shoulders a little bit better, or you're going to hit your traps a little bit better. A wider grip with this, more of a shoulder width grip, or even wider. We'll really focus more on the delts, the shoulders, okay, specifically front and side. If we go closer, I'll show you in a second, we're going to focus on the traps. Okay, so the same thing. This one, more compound, we say set of 12, 2 sets of 10, and a set of 8. Now, once you get through those sets, we're going to start moving into the traps. Actually, no, take that back first. We're going to go into overhead presses, okay? So, sorry guys, I'm trying to fill in this all in one shot, so I don't have this perfectly written in terms of how I'm putting it together, but I'm doing my best here. We're going to do a classic overhead press. And for this, in most cases, you're going to need to get on your knees, okay, so that you can actually get the bands up high enough overhead. So in a shoulder press, okay, whether we're using dumbbells or barbells, type of press I'm doing, we're going to generally hit all 3 parts of the deltoid and the tricep. So front deltoid, side deltoid, rear deltoid, again, anterior, medial, posterior. and then triceps, okay? From here, we wanna go on our knees. They can be shoulder width apart. We're gonna loop the resistance bands behind our arms, all right? Now, the movement starts here at 90, okay? We're trying not to really go below that for the most part. We're gonna push up. They're gonna meet at the top. We're gonna keep them a little bit behind our head. We're making a triangle. So we hit them together at a point. We bring them right back down to 90, okay? Same tempo. 1, we'll squeeze and back down. 2, squeeze, back down. 3, squeeze. I think you guys get the point. And 4, squeeze. And we're gonna go back into set of 12, 2 sets of 10, set of 8. So that is a nice way to finish this. I put it together like that on purpose, okay? I isolated the deltoids to get them tired. I went into a compound move, again, just to start that process and still get the areas tired. I really do like military presses. I feel like they are effective for really training the delts and to give you a broader look. So I save them for last so that if you don't have a ton of resistance, this area is already tired, and the resistance that you have available is probably going to be more than enough to sit there and really burn them out. Okay, so there's a little method in that madness there. And then finally what I'm going to do is go into your trap muscles. Okay, so you do want to train them. I know for women specifically, they are concerned about overdeveloping them. It's typically not the case. Depends on genetically what you have. So if you feel like this area takes off for you very quick, the trap muscles visibly are on the sides of the neck, but they do extend down the centers of the back. You do want to train them for posture reasons. But if you feel like you're prone to developing them too quick, skip this portion, okay? For anybody who does want to develop them, we're going to add these in, and we have a couple moves we can do. So we're going to start first with upright rows again, but a closer version, and that's really the game changer. So when we want to focus on our traps, our arms are going to be about 4 to 6 inches apart, okay? We keep them there. We do the exact same move otherwise. So we just pull up nice and evenly. Again, elbows high, elbows above the wrists, right to the chin, and then back down straight, okay? We're keeping our bands close to our body. Back down. I think you guys are understanding what I'm trying to demonstrate with this right here. Okay, so that's 4. Again, we're gonna go for about a set of 12. Okay, right up, straight, and back down. All right, so that is your upright row. I'm gonna still say set of 12, 2 sets of 10, set of 8. Now, we're gonna move into shrugs. Okay, so there's 2 types that you could do pretty easily with resistance bands. Your classic is your dumbbell side shrug. Again, we are focusing on the trap muscles when we do this movement. So we take them, we're gonna be shoulder width with the feet, arms are at our sides, okay? Actually, what I'm gonna say is, yeah, you can see it in the camera. Take a wider stance so that you can really shorten the length of the band, okay? So you almost want a sumo style stance. You wanna stay upright, tuck your chin down. This will help give you a better resistance when you're doing this move. And so from here, think about your traps, okay? Pretty much just try to shrug your shoulders up to your ears and bring them back down, okay? Nice and slow. So we're up, we squeeze, we bring them back down. This type of tempo, I'm hoping you guys can see this and understand the move. Just like that, all right? Same rep scheme, 12, 10, 10, 8. And nice way to train your traps. And one more, front shrugs, okay? So for front shrugs, actually I'm gonna say stay with that same stance. This time, keep your knuckles down, keep the bands in the front. Otherwise, the exact same concept, okay? We're up, we bring them back down. Squeeze at the top, remember shoulders to ears. Back down, helps if you tuck your chin and focus in on that area. Really put that squeeze in there. Okay, same thing, 12, 10, 10, 8. So right there, you have an effective shoulder and trap workout. A little bit longer than the chest and back just because I threw 2 muscle groups in there. Now we're gonna go into legs, all right? So I do wanna, now I'll make this point at the end. Right now we're gonna go into legs. So with legs, what we're gonna do is start out with squats, okay? Very simple to do with bands. Now let's understand when we're focusing on squats, okay? For the most part, and it depends on how wide your stance is. I'm gonna show you the two of them. For the most part, in a general squat, outer quad, okay? Vastus medialis, some inner quad, heavy hamstring, heavy glute. Depends on how deep you get, okay? So we're gonna take this, we're gonna stand shoulder width apart. okay? Having a little trouble here. Here we go. Okay, now, shoulder width. Now, these, again, are going to come behind you, okay? So, we come out to the sides, keep our knuckles up to the ceiling, okay? Look up. When we do a squat, I want you to think two things when you do the move. Knees come out, and your butt goes as far back as it can. And we want to look up to keep a flat back, okay? So, knees out, glutes back, lets us get deep, okay? Ideally, right below 90, right back off to the top, and squeeze at the top, okay? So bring it in, come up, flex, back down, up and flex. That's important. Remember your breathing, okay? So let's go over that. I'm coming down, I'm gonna breathe in, I come up, I'm gonna blow out and squeeze. And I'm gonna go over breathing at the end of this, so please bear with me. And that's gonna be important for you guys to know too. And that's your basic squat. Now from there, we can go into a sumo squat. Sumo squat is going to help you focus more on your inner thighs, okay? Still gonna get some glute in there, so it's a really, really nice compound move, okay? Again, a compound move, not an isolator. So, we're gonna go nice and wide like we did almost for that shrug, okay? So, you may need a little lighter resistance because the bands are shorter because of this. Up, to the sides. Otherwise, not too much different in terms of rules. Chin's up. We're gonna sit back, knees out, right above 90. Let those knees out, come back to the top. Actually, I'm gonna show you. Flare your toes more to the sides. Kind of disregard that first rep. Toes out to the sides, coming down. Let's get the knees out more, and then back up to the top. So breathe in, push and blow, squeeze your inner thighs. In, push and blow, glutes and inner thighs. Breathe in and to the top, and I think you guys get the concept. Okay, from there, what I like to do are lunges. So, not my favorite thing in the world, but effective. Lunges are my favorite because they do isolate very well all parts of the quad and the glutes. Okay, so those looking to shape up those areas, great way to go. So I am a big fan of stationary lunges, especially in this type of setting. And if you have some dumbbells, awesome. If you don't, we're gonna get creative. So I'm gonna show you what I'm using. Little ridiculous, right? Old bodybuilding trophies, okay? Because it adds resistance to the move. So these are a couple pounds, better than nothing. So we're gonna look straight and we're gonna stagger our stance. So I like to start with my weaker side behind, and you're gonna notice when you do it stationary style, your back quad is gonna feel a little more of the burn than the front. That's normal, it should. We wanna keep our chest up from here, okay? Leave a little space in between your feet. Do not walk a tightrope because you will be off balance as you go down. So 2 to 3 inches in between your feet will help. Your back foot should be on its tiptoe. Your front foot is flat. We look straight, we bend both knees. Chest stays up, we come right to the point before we hit the ground, and we come back up. And we do it nice and even. Up, squeeze those areas I talked about, quads and glutes. Up, and we finish all of our sets. Okay, and I'll go over rep scheme at the end. You guys kind of know it already. And once we're done, take a small break if you need it. If not, go right into your opposite side. Okay, little space again. Remember, back foot is on its tiptoe the whole time. And look straight, bend, and back up. Okay, same thing, nothing changed. And I think you guys understand where I'm going with that. So now, for me, I'm limited on equipment. So I'm gonna do a little bit more with the lunges. I'm doing 5 sets of 12 there. And then ideally what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish off with forward lunges. And I'm gonna go for reps. So forward lunges, again, you can be controlled with the tempo, but you probably will need to go just a tiny bit quicker. With a forward lunge, take our resistance, whatever you got available. Start with your feet, virtually side by side. All the rules, chest up, back stays straight. You wanna step forward and a little bit out to the side that you're gonna step. So I'm gonna start with my left side, that's my weaker side. I'm gonna step out a tiny bit to the left. Okay, so here, step, bend both knees. I'm making it in 2 steps so you can see it. And then push off and line up. Okay, so step. That's if you just want to do it all at once. Control that bend, push back and line up. Control, push back and line up. We finish all 15. I'll go over that in a minute. And we switch, okay? Step, back, step, back, and I think you guys understand, right? So that is going to finish out the quad portion of our workout. With squats, you are getting some hamstrings. Unfortunately for me, I do not have the types of bands that I would like, or dumbbells, to really mimic too many hamstring moves. So I'm relying mostly on my squats for that right now, which we demoed right in the very beginning of this. That will generally take care of business. Is it your best? No, but it will give them nice effective work. So try not to panic. Now, I'm going to say that if you do have a band available, I don't want to make this too complicated for you, but if you do have a band available where, I don't know if I can show, I'm going to try to show this to you this way. Sorry guys, sorry for the feet in your face. If you have a band available that you can loop, or a dumbbell available that you can kind of hold on to in between your legs, and you have a flat surface, like a bench, you can simply do a hamstring curl, okay? With a band, one end would be attached at the end of your ankles, the other end would be either tied around or ideally looped over a pole or something that won't move, and it creates resistance obviously as you're coming in and on the way back. And we would finish out, basically these are ideal to, or equivalent to doing prone leg curls, okay, which is a nice hamstring movement, and we pretty much hit it from start to finish. And that's how we would do that movement. So I don't have the equipment, but I want to try to show that to you as best I can. Now, for anybody interested, okay, I don't know too many people that focus necessarily on training their calves, but I believe in training the entire body, even from start to finish. So I am going to show you how you can do that. There are so many ways you can do that. If you have a step outside, which I can't imagine too many people don't, that's the best way to do it. I'm not personally going outside right now, so as ridiculous as this looks, I'm going to use a chair, okay? So give me one sec. Take your chair, open it up. Now, I'm using that closet top portion for support, and I'm putting the balls of my feet right here at the end, okay? Now, do me a favor, please, okay? If you do not have great balance, if it's questionable, don't do this, okay? Do not do this move. If you're comfortable, then you want to work your calves in the worst way, I consider a part of, finishing my lower body training. This is what you can do. Okay, so carefully, hold on, step up, keep your feet hip width apart. The balls of your feet are on the chair, your ankles are off. You lower as far as possible, and you come up as high as possible and squeeze. Okay, so we stretch, we come up and squeeze. Okay, stretch, up and squeeze. And what I like to do is I like to do 5 sets of 25, really slow, really give them a great burn, okay? And what this does is it works generally all parts of your calf, okay? So you have your gastrocnemius, and then you have your soleus right underneath it. This will target kind of that whole area nicely, all right? So again, please be smart about your choice. Train them if you're comfortable. If you don't care, don't worry about it, don't train them. If your balance is not great, please do not train them. Okay, now moving on. Okay, so sets and reps for lower body, all right? We started out with the rear squat. That's the first squat I showed you. So there, compound movement, I'm gonna say 12, 10, 10, 8, 30 to 60 seconds off in between the set. The same is gonna apply for the second movement, the sumo squat that I demoed for you. When we got into the lunges, I like to keep them higher, okay? So stationary, which was the first type, I'm gonna say 5 sets of 12. When we do the forward lunges, I'm gonna say 4 sets of 15, okay? And that'll really burn out those quads. If you have the bands available or the dumbbells available to do the hamstring part of that, the prone leg curl I was trying to show you, you can go back to a set of 12, 2 sets of 10, and a set of 8. Some may find a little better results if you go into higher reps like 15, so you could equally do 4 to 5 sets of 15. Experiment a little bit, okay? There is no perfect science to this, but there are just general guidelines. So see what works the best for you, write it down. I always recommend writing things down, okay? When you can see it in front of you, it starts to become a little more real. It's easier for you to sit there and track your progress and come to conclusions without being confused with it all jumbled up in your head. It's my personal motto, take from that what you will. When it comes to calves, super duper high reps, so 5 sets of 25, and be careful with that portion. Now, so far we did chest, we did back, we did shoulders and traps, we did quads. Now we get into the small muscle groups, okay? So biceps and triceps, okay? Very easy to do with resistance bands and some home equipment. So let's start with the biceps, okay? Take our resistance band and we're gonna go shoulder width apart. We're gonna start out with a classic curl, okay? What happens in a classic curl? We work both parts. You have an inside head, you have an outside head. So generally speaking, we're gonna hit both parts, okay? So shoulder width apart. Most of you guys know this move. This is nothing fancy. So arms are straight, elbows are tight, okay? And all we do is palms up, we curl, controlled up to the front delts, we go all the way back down, hang out for a second, bring it back up, and back down. Just get a nice pump, okay? So what I like to do, 3 sets. Usually you don't need to overtrain arms. When it comes to biceps and triceps, generally speaking, you can do about 3 to 5 sets, and you can get some pretty effective results. So I'm gonna say a set of 15, a set of 12, and a set of 10, all right? So that's your basic bicep curl. Now, again, I'm always thinking about hitting all the parts even and shaping areas that sometimes are a little bit tougher to come along. So we're gonna do a hammer curl. A hammer curl, one of my favorites, really targets this outside head. So this is really more of a peaker, okay? When you go to flex a bicep, I know a lot of people are not gonna be concerned about necessarily how the bicep is looking, but I'm just giving you some of the background on that. It is just a nice way to sit there and hit that muscle and make sure that you're developing everything even. So what we do instead, we take these, we grip on the outside, and we have it squeezed, okay? It's the same move otherwise, it's just our palms are facing each other, okay? So shoulder width, elbows tight. We wanna curl up to the front delts, and we go all the way back down to the bottom. Up and squeeze, all the way back down to the bottom. And that's it. We can keep the same rep scheme. 15, 12, and 10, 30 to 60 seconds off, okay? And then finally, one of my favorites for the exact same purpose is a reverse curl. So in a reverse curl, again, we're focusing a lot on the outside head. We're also getting the forearm, okay? Again, I believe in training everything evenly for strength purposes and to keep the body in balance. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that open grip, okay? So while I got you here, I wanna make sure it's clear what I'm talking about. Thumbs over the top, that's an open grip, okay? This is gonna make our forearms work really hard and our biceps work really hard, okay? So we go back to the exact same position, the exact same stance. Elbows tight, arms straight, do a curl, nothing changes. Front delts, back down. Front delts, back down. And that's it, okay? Same rep scheme, 15, 12, 10, right? Now I wanna make one point, okay? For all of these moves, all 3 I just showed you, I'm gonna show you something from the side that I feel is important to point out. Elbows have to stay here, okay? When we do a curl, elbows stay tight and almost back a little, all right? So make sure our biceps do the work. One mistake, and it's common, we do this. We lift our elbows up, and then we start coming back down. And what happens here is, we're getting way too much of the front deltoids and not very much of our biceps, okay? So again, elbows tight, up to the front delts, back down. Just wanna make that correction, that point, okay? Now, you can do those 3 moves. They're basic. Are there others? Of course. Again, if it's requested and needed, I'll try to show you even more variations and different, things that you can do. We're gonna go into triceps from here, okay? So, triceps, there are some good band variations, and I'm gonna start with I want to try to make a little sense of this in terms of the order that you're training this. So, one of my favorite, again, I know people are not super duper fans of push-ups, okay? But you can go bent knee, and if you are having trouble keeping the sets, it does give you a goal to work towards, because week by week, you will gain strength, okay? And this is why I'm a fan of writing things down, so you can actually see what you were supposed to do, or a general map of what you're supposed to do and what you were able to do, and you could work towards your goals and decide, okay, am I adding weight? Am I taking weight off? Am I getting my sets and reps? Okay, I'm weak in these areas. All these different things. I don't want to confuse you. Triceps, okay? 3 parts in a tricep: lateral head, long head, medial inside heads, okay? This first move I like so much, even though it's a push-up, because it hits all 3 parts in one shot very effectively. So we do a diamond push-up. Many of you familiar. For some, you just may hate hearing the name. I like them. I think they work great. So you make your hands like a triangle, okay? This is kind of where they say diamond. So triangle, place that right below the middle of your chest. You pick the foot position that works for you. Remember we talked about it. Up, bent knee if we need some assistance with the strength. Up is what I consider moderate. Slightly more than moderate if you have one toe on the heel, and then you can put your feet up onto a chair like I had before to make it hard. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with the basic. Toes, elbows stay tight, we look straight. Come down, middle chest, middle lower chest. Push up. So even, 1, up and squeeze. 1, up and squeeze. Okay, so same concept, 15, 12, 10. So that again is generally gonna hit all 3 parts. Now, what we're gonna do is make use of a chair, okay? So I'm assuming most people will have a chair. If you don't, we need alternatives, I'll do it. So what I wanna show you is a reverse dip. It's one of my favorite exercises because it really does hit all 3 parts of that tricep very effectively. A really good way to sit there and fry out that muscle. So I'm gonna grab my chair again. Show you from the side, okay? Again, you don't need anything fancy, okay? You're gonna take your hands, you are going to grip the front. Okay, so let me show you. Gripping, doing the same thing on the opposite side. As far as our legs go, if you have trouble with this move, keep them at this angle bent, okay? Looks like this. This is the least amount of resistance doing this move, okay? If you want more of a challenge, straighten your legs on the ground, okay? So heels on the ground, legs straight, okay? You want a little bit more of a challenge, cross them, okay? If you are, I'm not even gonna go there. Stick with those 3, okay? So, grabbing the front, squeeze, squeeze. I'm gonna keep my legs out and crossed. Keep our bodies close to that chair. If you need to, prop that chair up against the wall so it does not slide anywhere. Bend from the elbows. Wanna get to 90, up and squeeze. Down to 90, up and squeeze. And we're just gonna finish out our reps and sets. Again, 15, 12, and 10, okay? That's a nice one for your triceps. And then we're gonna finish out one more move, which is gonna be a cable overhead extension. I love overhead extensions because they really target that long head, okay? And it gives the tricep a beautiful shape. When you do flex your arm, you get that nice belly coming in down here, all right? So I'm just saying that from an aesthetic standpoint. From a workout standpoint, this is just a great way to sit there and finish off your triceps and make sure it really gets worked. Okay, so get rid of the chair. So we're gonna take this, okay? We're gonna do a lot like we did for the military press, but we can stand for this. So the cable goes behind our arms again, okay? We start here. I'll show you in a second. We take that same open grip. Push up to the top, lock. Keep the elbows toward the front. Stretch a little past our ears. Push off and lock. A little past your ears. Push off and lock. And we're gonna do the same thing. 15, 12, and 10. That rep tempo is nice and even, okay? And that is gonna finish off triceps, okay? So what I was saying before with that grip, open style, okay? So thumbs are over the top. Reason for that, puts more work in the tricep, more stress in the tricep. These are just little tips that you can do when you do your grips and how far apart you spread your arms on a bar that change things up, and you can apply it to resistance bands and take advantage of it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is ab training, okay? So again, a lot of different roads to go down with ab training. So generally speaking, you don't have to overtrain these guys. You know, the trick that I've always found with abs is really going to be what you eat, but consistency. So in my opinion and in my experience, and that's all this is, you do not need to spend 20 to 30 minutes training your abs. It's overkill. What I would recommend is that you spend 5 to 10 minutes training your abs 6 to 7 days a week. They are small muscles. They recover very quickly. They can be trained that often and you can still get results, all right? So I'm gonna do the best I can with this video. Some of the positions, I'm gonna try to show you as good as I can. So here's what I recommend. Really simple, 2 styles. First one, we're gonna isolate the upper and the lower abs, all right? So I'm going to show you 3 different exercises that you can do. The first is a V crunch. Okay, some people who have taken muscle shock know this move well. Others, I'm going to show you as best I can. So what we want is our legs up in the air, okay, side by side. I hope you can see that. I think you can. We want to point our fingers towards our toes. We keep our chins up, and we crunch up towards our toes, and we bring them back down to the ground. So squeeze and down. We're only crunching up 2 to 3 inches. You just want to feel that contraction in your abs. Now, me personally, what I like to do is 1 set of 100, okay? Or if you can't do 100, do as many or as close to that number as you can. And then what you want to do is you want to work towards getting 100. And I've always found that with abs, high reps really help to keep that waist small and tight, okay? This is a little bit different from doing your average, no, not average, but your general strength training where we're looking to build up muscles. With abs, we want to tone them, we want to keep them tight. We do not want them popping out. We do not want them extending. Okay, we want a nice V shape, nice tight waist. So when it comes to upper and lowers, my favorite was always 1 set of 100. Now, just a variation on that move. Should you need neck support, and many will, okay? Feel no shame with that. Elbows behind, just loosely grab your head, don't pull. Loosely grab your head, elbows are out wide, chins are always up, remember that. Up towards your toes, back down to your mats, okay? Nothing changes too much. Now, what I like to follow that up with is, well, another exercise that you can do, okay? And these happen on different days, okay? So I want to make that point. One day, focus on the V crunch, do 1 set of 100, okay? Another day that you're going to train your abs, do a different move so they don't get bored. And you can do a classic crunch, right? So knees are bent. We're going to start a little bit with our shoulders off the ground or mat, whatever you're working with. Want our elbows to the front, loosely grabbing the head. Start in this position, okay? Our elbows are a good 10, 12 inches away. We crunch, we meet our knees, we open back up. We keep everything tight. Everything should stay close to each other. And we want to do these reps fast, all right? That's another thing, real quick tip. Again, my experience, training abs faster, okay, with almost a half-second rep was more effective in terms of toning them and helping them look, small, tight, and defined versus trying to go slow with them. Now, if your body responds very well to slower reps, you can try it for your abs, and it may work for you. I'm not discrediting it and saying that it's not the right thing to do. I'm just pointing out my experience with it and what's really helped me have some good abs over the years. One more move, all right? What you can do, and this actually incorporates the obliques too, is a bicycle crunch, okay? Most of you are gonna know this because we did this in gym class and it holds up. So, bent knees, elbows wide. Now we're hitting upper lowers. Now we're hitting obliques, which are your love handles on the sides here. Elbows wide, and we want to twist. Opposite elbow, opposite knee, they meet. Center, opposite elbow, opposite knee, they meet. We go back and forth. These are quick. Go through them, okay? Get yourself up to 100, right? Okay. Now that's going to generally take care of upper lowers. And the last one got the obliques. Another way you could break up each one of those exercises and you can vary your ab workout so your abs don't get bored is instead of doing 1 straight set of 100, you could do 5 sets of 25 reps where you do a set of 25 reps, you count, take 30 seconds off, another set of 25 reps up until you've completed 5 sets of 25 reps, so 125 reps of abs. There is a little bit of a difference in my experience in terms of how the abs look, and neither one of them is wrong. So it's good to kind of mix both in there. It's good for your mind so that you're not bored, and it's good for your body so that it's not bored, all right? Now I want to move into oblique training, okay? Love handles. Now, some people will not need to train them, okay? You can stick with just your upper and lowers, and your obliques are going to come in as a result of that once you're reducing your body fat and you're tightening up your waist. For some, for me, I've had success when I train them, but what I like to do is I like to do just body weight movements, and this is just a tip that I learned. Again, if somebody feels differently, feel free. It's really up to how your body responds, but I've learned over the years that with obliques, they tend to mass up pretty quick. So I have avoided training them really with any kind of weights, and I just stick with kicks and twists, body weight movements that tighten up the area, but do not add mass to the area so that we do get that nice V shape. We have broad shoulders, We have a tight, nice little small waist. It's a very aesthetically pleasing look. So what we're gonna do is some of the old 80s stuff. I mean, that stuff works. So you're gonna laugh and that's okay. Have a good time. We're gonna start out with a side kick, a lying side kick. Or a leg raise, really. Yeah, I'm gonna say a lying side leg raise, okay? I know it's hard for you guys to see this in the video. I'm gonna do the best I can with it. What you wanna do, turn your elbow in, okay? So we're laying on one side, palms up, take your hand, grab your wrist, okay? My legs, I'm gonna slide over, keep your knees bent, keep the top leg straight. You don't really need to see my face or my elbow because you've seen what that's supposed to look like. And now kick as high as you can. Get up there, bring it back down. I know, it looks ridiculous, it looks funny. You know what? It works, so do it. So you wanna kick as high as you can. We're gonna go quick. We're gonna go one set of 30, okay? And then what you do is just simply go on to the opposite side, repeat the exact same thing. That's one movement for your obliques. I recommend doing 2 in any workout, and I'll go over what the protocol is at the end. So the other one is gonna be, actually I'm glad I have this here, okay, is a standing twist. Okay, so one of my favorites actually to tighten up this area, especially this back fat area. Okay, this one is the tough one. And that just is the one that really, really frustrates a lot of people. This move definitely helps tighten that area. Your nutrition is what's gonna get that area to look good. Okay, I'm gonna make that point, all right? So we'll go over that at the end too. Take anything you have. I happen to have a long stick. You can take a broomstick. That's usually what I've used in the past. Again, you just get creative, use what you got. Take it, put it over your shoulders, okay? Now, wide stance, okay? So just outside your shoulders. Now, elbow to opposite knee, that's what you think. You tilt over at the side, and as you tilt over, you bring your elbow in the front, okay? So if I drew a line right now, my elbow is aiming toward that opposite knee. I squeeze, I feel a stretch here. That's what I'm looking for when I come down on this side. I wanna make that clear. We come up, we make it a point to stop, and then we go to the opposite side. It's the exact same concept, okay? So it looks like this. Come down, back up. Come down, back up. Please do me a favor, do not do this. Don't just flare around. That's not gonna help. So squeeze, make it a point to stop, squeeze, stop, and so on. So what you do is 30 on each side, total of 60, okay? So between the two movements, let's go over it. In one workout for abs, what you do, in my experience, one set of 100 for your upper and lower abs, or 5 sets of 25. Okay, taking the 30 seconds off in between if you're doing the 5 sets of 25. Pick 2 different oblique exercises. I will show you 2 more, just so you have options. And do 30 reps per side, 60 total. So on a given workout, we are talking 120 for the obliques, and between 100 and 125 for the upper and lower abs. It will take 5 minutes out of your day, 5 to 10 tops. That's it, that's all you need to do. But you do need to do it 6 days a week so that this way you get the development. Consistency is the key when it comes to exercise. People ask me this question. For some of you, you know this. For others, this maybe you're new to this or maybe you're confused about this. I do want to make a point that for you to get results, you have to be consistent, okay? So you have to be consistent about your training. You have to develop your training, okay? One size will not fit all. If you find a program that's working for you, in time your body will adapt to it. You will need to adjust and adapt that program to continue results. You have to be consistent about your nutrition, all right? So people know me, know I'm passionate about that. And you know something? When I slack off, it shows. It shows fast. So I gotta work hard at it too. It's not like I have good genetics and it's not like I'm gifted at being lean. I have to pay attention to this every single day. And I can tell you that I can see it much quicker the older I've gotten. So, everybody's got to work. Everybody's got to put the work. And your rest and your stress. You need to make sure you're getting sleep at night. Watch your alcohol intake. I'm not telling you not to have it, especially now for God's sakes. But, just be careful about that. And try to get good quality sleep, or as good quality sleep as you can. It really does matter, okay? At night is when your body recovers and it repairs itself. So all this work you're doing right now is damage. So we're tearing down muscle fibers, we're depleting energy, okay? So this is why your nutrition becomes important, and I'll see how far I can go with, maybe a nutritional portion of this. I would love to do that for you guys. But I want to make the point that you have to eat to recover, to repair your muscles. Otherwise, your muscles will not look like muscles. And I want to make that point, okay? Because anybody has probably had this experience, me especially when I first started. If you do not repair your muscles, if you don't eat properly to repair your muscles, you can do these workouts. You can do boot camps, you can do the most effective training, and you will not see much of a change. And it will be extremely frustrating for a very long time. And that is why, because your muscles do not have what they need to build back and look like muscles, okay? So sculpting is gonna happen in the kitchen and when we sleep at night, when the body can actually repair itself or regenerate itself. So if anybody's been confused about that or is still confused about that, I'm happy to go into more detail about that because it's such a critical part of what you're gonna do if you're really serious about keeping your body in any kind of physical form. If sculpting interests you or you just wanna stay generally healthy, these rules apply whether you wanna sculpt yourself or you just wanna be in good shape and good health, okay? So let's understand that. Real quick, I'm sorry I got long-winded. I just felt that was important. 2 other exercises for your obliques, okay? Because remember what I told you, pick 2 different exercises for your obliques. I only showed you 2, I'm gonna show you a total of 4. You mix and match. The next one, same thing, it's an old school move. You don't need more than body weight when it comes to obliques. That's my experience, I'm gonna stand by that. Same position to start. We'll make a fist, palms up, grab it. I'm gonna slide over a little bit. You can see where my elbow is, it's flat. I'll slide over a little bit so you can see my legs because that's more important right now for this. Now, you're gonna take this that you grabbed with, now that you're comfortable and you're stable, put this to your head, okay? Don't punch yourself. My bottom leg, my bottom knee is bent. My top leg is straight. I'm sorry, I know you can't see it. I'm doing the best I can with this angle. Now what you wanna do, this happens at the same time. We bend the knee to the front, okay, we're bringing it to our chest. We pull our elbow down to our glute and we open everything straight, okay? And you're gonna feel it immediately right in that oblique muscle, okay? So squeeze, we open. Squeeze, open. Knee to chest, elbow to glute, open back up. Make sure you hear those cues and you pay attention to them, okay? And it's right here, right in that back fat area, okay? Right in those obliques on the sides. Now, final move, you would do 30 of those, repeat on the opposite side. Final move, okay? I like to do this in a chair, but we can actually just do it right here on the ground. Take our broomstick or whatever stick is available, and we do a twist, okay? So all we do, chest up, look straight. Come to the center, as close to that as you can. It is important for you to look straight. A lot of people are gonna do this. That is not gonna sit there and create the same stretch. We wanna look straight, try to get right up there on the eyes, come around, do the same thing. For some, you'll be able to do that very quickly. Others, it will be really, really hard. Don't get discouraged, work into it. Take it a day at a time, eventually a week at a time, and you're gonna see that this is gonna take off for you. Okay, so squeeze and squeeze, okay? Same thing, 30 reps per side, 60 reps total. Right now, that is what I have for you guys. So again, it was a combination of resistance bands and body weights moves, kind of the best I could put together with minimal home, gym equipment. If there are questions, let the staff know, and I'll do my best to help you guys out with future videos. I just want to say right from the get-go, or actually in conclusion, I want to say that I wish everybody good health. Definitely as a family at that club, and it is sad not seeing you guys. It's weird not being there. I love the energy that comes in that club. You guys are great, and it's been a really, really awesome experience. So I just want to wish everybody and their families and their friends great health. Please take care of yourself. Please listen to the guidelines and the protocols that they're putting out there, as inconvenient or as frustrating as they may be. And I'll see you guys soon. I want to make one quick point, and it's super important, okay? I know I'm getting long-winded. The workouts that I showed you, okay? Your chest workout should be one workout on its own. It's its own separate day. You do not do all these movements in one day. You'll be here for way too long, and it's ineffective because you're breaking down way too many muscles in one shot. So here's a workout scheme that you can use. You can do chest on Monday. Tuesday you could do your back. Wednesday you could do your legs. Thursday you could take a day off. Friday you could do, I want to fix that. I apologize. I want to say Monday you could do chest and triceps. Okay, Tuesday you could do back and biceps. Wednesday you could focus just on your lower body. Okay, so your squats, your quads, your hamstrings, your calves. Thursday you could take a day off. Friday you could do shoulders and traps. You can do your abs literally every single day or 6 days a week and give yourself a day off. That's a good way to break this up so that the muscles have enough time to rest and recover and that your body doesn't get overtrained. Okay, so let's try to remember that concept. I think this is really important. I think some people, not all, but some people may, not understand this or be confused by this. Okay, more is not always more, right? There's a time and a place to overtrain yourself sometimes, but for the most part, what we want to do is we want to hit it, we want to make it effective, and then we want to get out of there. We want to rest and recover so that our bodies can repair and look like something again and be healthy. If we overtrain it too much for too long, we're stressing our bodies out. Cortisol is not a great idea, and that will happen. Okay. So I just want to try to emphasize that there's a good quote in some of the first bodybuilding books I was ever reading, and one of it just said, "Stimulate, don't annihilate." In other words, do a good job, but don't go overboard with it. So these workouts, ideally, if you're gonna do your body part that day and you're gonna add your abs into it, 60 minutes. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, it should be 60 minutes or less. In my opinion, that's a great way to go, especially if you're limited on nutrition right now. Again, I'll be happy to do a video about that and just kind of give you what I can, as if we can. And that's it. Okay, so again, just wishing you guys great health, and I'll talk to you soon.